Hello, my friend. Tonight, the darkness outside your window is not merely the absence of light. It is a deep, velvet canvas, vast and endless, waiting for us to paint upon it a memory older than the cities, older than the ancient forests. Tonight we are embarking on the longest journey we have ever taken. We are traveling back to the very beginning, back to the first footprint, pressed into the snow, back to the first curl of wood smoke rising into the air of a completely new world. Now please, prepare yourself. Find the most comfortable position you can, lie down and let the weight of your body sink gradually into the soft mattress beneath you. Let your shoulders drop, shedding the heavy burdens of the day you have just lived. Imagine that the four walls of your room are slowly dissolving into mist. The ceiling above you is fading away, revealing a night sky that is vast, profound, and filled with thousands of twinkling stars. These stars look sharper, brighter, and closer than anything you have ever seen in the modern world. Take a deep breath in, filling your chest with a stream of cool, pure air, and exhale very slowly, pushing all the noise, all the worries out of your mind. Here, there is no traffic noise, no ringing phones, no ticking clocks. In this place, time does not exist. There is only the rhythm of your own heart, beating steady and slow, like a drum made of hide and unpolished wood echoing through the wilderness. Listen to that drum. It is the same heartbeat that once pounded in the chests of your ancestors tens of thousands of years ago. Focus on your breath, in and out. With every breath, you feel the air around you becoming a little cooler. A pleasant chill begins to touch the tip of your nose. You pull the blanket up a little higher, feel its warmth. Right now, it no longer feels like fabric. It feels like a thick, heavy, and incredibly warm animal fur. You are drifting upstream against the flow of time. You are traveling back to a time when ice covered the earth, when sea levels were hundreds of meters lower than they are today, and the continents seemed to stretch out their fingers to touch one another. You are safe. You are being guided to return home. And then you open your eyes. The first thing you notice is the silence. It is an absolute silence so vast that you can hear the blood rushing like a river in your own ears. You are sitting up. The ground beneath your back is hard and cold, but it has been thickly lined with layers of dried grass and animal skins. You are inside a shelter. It is not a square house made of brick or wood. It is a circular structure erected from huge curved bones, which are the ribs of great beasts, and covered tightly with stitched hides. The air inside is thick with the smell of old smoke, the scent of sizzling animal fat, and the distinct musky aroma of leather being cured. In the center of the tent, a small fire is dying down, remaining only as glowing red embers. The faint orange light from the coals casts shadows on the sleeping faces around you. You look at them. This is your family. This is your tribe. Their skin is weathered by the wind, and snow turned a deep copper red under the firelight. Their hair is jet black, long and thick. You look down at your own body. You are wrapped in many layers of warm fur. The innermost layer is soft reindeer skin, smooth as velvet. On your feet, you wear high-topped boots. They are a masterpiece of survival, stitched with sinew so meticulously that not a single drop of freezing water can enter. You run your hand over the stitching on your boots. You can feel the care in every knot. You know that your life depends on these skins. Outside this wall of bone and hide the world is a kingdom of harsh frost. You feel an urge rising in your chest, an instinct speaking to you. It is time to move. It is time to see the dawn. You stand up quietly, your knee joints cracking slightly in the early morning chill. You step carefully over your sleeping kin. You step over the elders who hold the stories and the children who hold the future. You gently push aside the heavy, thick hide that serves as the tent door, and you step out. The cold hits you instantly, but it is not the damp, soaking chill of tropical rains. It is a dry, cold, sharp as a knife blade, tightening the skin on your face immediately. It is the breath of the Ice Age. You are standing on a vast plain, but this is not a sheet of white ice as you might imagine. No, this is the Mammoth Steppe. The ground stretches endlessly in every direction, painted in shades of withered yellow, dark brown, and cold grey. It is a dry grassland, dusted with patches of snow that swirl in the wind like dust. The sky above is a pale, washed-out blue, hard and cold. The sun hangs low on the horizon, looking like a white disk that gives off light but offers very little heat. You look to the east. That is the direction you are heading. To your tribe, this land has no name. It is simply the land. But thousands of years later, men of science will call this place Beringia. It is the bridge between two worlds, a massive continent that emerged from the sea floor. You are not walking across a bridge. You are living on it. This valley is wider than any country you can dream of. The wind here has a voice. Listen to it. It howls through the dry bushes, sounding like the whispers of thousands of ancestral spirits guiding the way. Keep moving, the wind says. Keep moving toward the rising sun. Why must you move? You move because the herds move. You squint into the distance, trying to pierce through the bright glare reflecting off the snow. There it is. Do you see them? Dark, massive shapes moving slowly against the pale sky. They look like walking hills. Mammoths? The woolly giants? Your heart skips a beat. They are the givers of life. If you hunt just one, your entire tribe will be fed for a full moon cycle. Their bones build your home. Their fur keeps you warm. Their spirits guide your shaman. Where they go, you must follow. And they are moving east, away from the biting winds of the west, toward a place where the sun seems to linger a little longer. You take a deep breath. The air here is so clean it makes your lungs ache slightly. It tastes of sagebrush and cold stone. You are a small traveler in a world of giants. You are small, but you are resilient. You have fire, you have tools, and most importantly, you have your kin beside you. Behind your back, you hear the camp beginning to stir. The tribe is waking up. The journey continues today. Breaking camp happens very quickly. There is no time to waste. Every member of the tribe knows their task perfectly. You watch the women deftly dismantling the tents. They roll up the large hides, which are heavy and stiff with frost. They stack the giant mammoth ribs onto sledges made of wood and bone. There are no horses here. There are no wheels. There is only the strength of human backs and the help of the dogs. Ah, the dogs. Look at them. They are not like the small pets of the future. They are large and wolf-like, with amber-yellow eyes that watch everything. They are tied to the sledges, their breath puffing white clouds into the cold air. They whine and pull at their tethers, eager to run. You walk up to the lead dog. You bury your hand in its thick, rough fur. You feel the warmth radiating from its body, feel its strong heartbeat. You whisper a word of thanks. Without them, the burden on human shoulders would be too much to bear. The procession begins to move. You are walking. Feel the rhythm of your footsteps. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The ground is uneven. Under the thin layer of snow, the earth is frozen solid into rock. That is the permafrost. It is as hard as iron. Your boots grip the ground firmly. In your hand you carry a spear. The shaft is made of wood, straightened over a fire, polished smooth by the oils of your palm over many years. The tip of the spear is your most precious possession. Lift it up and look at it. It is a Clovis point, a blade chipped from obsidian or flint. It is translucent at the edges, sharp enough to shave the hair off your arm, yet strong enough to pierce the thick hide of a mammoth. You remember the sound when the elder crafted it? Click, click, click. That is the rhythm of stone hitting stone. That is the sound of survival. You walk for hours on end. The sun moves slowly across the sky, casting long blue shadows stretching out behind you. You are not alone in this vastness. To your left, you see a herd of ancient horses, stocky and small, scraping the snow with their hooves to find dry grass. To your right, a saiga antelope with its strange bulbous nose watches you warily before darting away, and always ahead of you are the tracks of the mammoth. Deep round holes printed in the snow as big as small craters. Your legs begin to tire. The muscles in your thighs burn hot. The strap of the pack across your chest digs deep into your thick fur coat. But you do not stop. To stop for too long right now is to invite the cold to enter your marrow. You look at the person, walking directly in front of you. It is your father. His back is bent under the weight of a bundle of dry wood, for fuel is rare here and more precious than gold. You see his breath puffing out steadily in rhythm with his steps. You feel a wave of love rise up. This line of people, this fragile thread of life walking across the roof of the world, is all that matters. The weather in Beringia is like a fickle god. By midday, the pale blue sky begins to turn a bruised purple. The wind changes its song. It stops whispering and starts to scream. A blizzard is coming. The clan leader at the front raises an arm. He shouts a command, but the wind tears the words away. But you understand the signal, shelter, immediately. There is no time to erect the large tents anymore. You must find cover. The terrain here has natural ravines, dry creek beds that are frozen over. The whole group quickly moves down into a low depression to escape the cutting wind. You help your father unload the hides from the sledge. Everyone works in silence, but with perfect coordination. The hides are stretched out, covering the top, creating a low dome close to the ground. You crawl inside with your family. The space is cramped, but because of that it warms up quickly. Outside, the wind howls like the cry of 1,000 hungry wolves. The blizzard beats against the animal skins with a flapping sound. But in here you are safe. A small fire is lit from the precious branches your father carried all morning. The tiny flame radiates a magical power. It pushes back the darkness and the cold. Everyone sits close together, shoulder to shoulder, sharing body heat. The smell of sweat, the smell of wet leather rises again, strong and familiar. Your grandmother, the oldest woman in the tribe, begins to pull some dried meat and congealed fat from her pouch. She hands each person a small piece. You chew the hard-dried meat, feeling the salty and sweet taste of protein dissolving in your mouth. It is not a feast, but it is the energy to sustain life. As the storm outside screams its loudest, she begins to speak. Her voice is low, raspy and trembling, yet it has a strange piercing quality that cuts through the noise of the wind. She does not tell fairy tales. She tells of memories. She tells of a time when the sun was warmer, of the distant lands to the west that the tribe left behind. She speaks of the giant beasts with teeth as long as spears that the ancestors fought. The children sit perfectly still, eyes wide, staring into the fire, drinking in every word. You listen too, even though you have heard this story 100 times, because you know these stories are the map. If one day there are no elders left, these stories will help you know who you are and where you must go. That night, the storm lasts a long time. You lie, curled up in your fur blanket, listening to the heartbeats of your kin beside you, listening to the angry wind outside the thin skin wall. You drift into a fitful sleep. In your dream you see yourself running. You run on a lush green grassland where the sun never sets and herds of gentle mammoths graze peacefully. But then you startle awake. The storm has broken. A strange light filters through the cracks of the temporary shelter. Everyone crawls out, and the sight before you makes you hold your breath. The blizzard has passed, leaving behind a world of pristine white, but the miracle lies on the horizon. To the east, where the sun is rising, you see a band of deep green, completely different from the withered color of the steppe. Those are not clouds. Those are mountains. Towering peaks covered in white snow, but their slopes are lush with the green of dense forests. And further still, you smell a strange scent carried by the wind. Not the smell of dry grass, not the smell of cold stone. It is the smell of pine resin, the smell of damp earth, the smell of life blooming. It is the smell of the new world. The clan leader stands motionless, eyes squinting, pointing toward those mountains. He says nothing, but the whole tribe understands. We have reached the end of the bridge. Ahead is no longer the arid Beringia. Ahead is a completely new continent, a land that has never known a human footprint. Your heart pounds heavily in your chest. You grip your spear tightly. You feel the fear dissolving, replaced by an overwhelming excitement. You turn to look at your family. They are smiling. You hoist your pack onto your shoulder. Your steps today will be much lighter than yesterday. You take the first steps down the slope, heading toward that green color. You do not know that this step of yours is opening a chapter of history that will last for tens of thousands of years. You do not know that your descendants will spread across this continent, will build brilliant empires, will create great cultures from the Amazon rainforests to the vast plains. You only know that today you have found home, and so you walk. Walking forever toward the sun. You keep walking. The first steps off the wind-swept plain and into the mountain ravine feel strange beneath your feet. The ground is no longer as hard as eternal rock. It is softer and spongy. Under the thin layer of remaining snow, you can feel the elasticity of deep vegetation decaying, creating a rich, intoxicating scent of Mother Earth. As you move deeper into the valley, the temperature seems to rise inch by inch. The air is no longer dry enough to crack your lips. It now carries the humid moisture of mist and sticky tree sap. You pass through a colossal gate carved by nature. On either side of the path, walls of blue ice tower into the sky. These are the edges of the ancient glaciers now retreating. They stand tall, glowing with a ghostly turquoise light. Water trickles down from the ice walls, forming thousands of tiny babbling brooks. The sound of running water echoes everywhere, replacing the wild, howling wind of the steppe behind you. You stop by a stream and plunge your hands in. The water is freezing, numbing your fingers instantly, but when you lift it to your mouth, it is sweet. A pure sweetness of melted snow, washing away the dusty taste of a 1,000-mile journey. You wash your face, letting the cold water awaken every tired sense. When you look up, you see the first tree, not the stunted bushes that hug the ground to escape the wind. This is a real tree, an ancient pine, its trunk so thick it would take 2 men to embrace it. You approach it as if approaching a god. You take off your leather glove and place your bare palm against the rough bark. You can feel the lifeblood flowing within the wood. The sharp, pungent smell of pine resin rushes into your nose, a powerful scent that makes you dizzy. To you, this tree is a miracle. It promises firewood, it promises shelter, and it promises endless forests ahead. Your entire tribe stops as well. Everyone touches the trees, whispering prayers of gratitude to the spirits that led you to this fertile land. But the new land also brings new dangers you have never known. As night falls, the forest is not silent like the open plains. It comes alive with strange calls. You hear the snapping of branches, the heavy footfalls of massive creatures moving in the dark. Here you are no longer the predator at the top of the food chain. You recall the warning of the scout. He had seen claw marks gouged deep into the tree trunks, marks that were feet higher than a man's head. That is the territory of the short-faced bear. This bear is twice the size of the bears you know. When it stands on its hind legs, it is a tower of muscle and fur, and it runs faster than a horse. Fear creeps into your marrow. That night, the campfire is built larger than usual. The strongest men, yourself included, take turns holding spears, standing guard. You stand with your back against a rock, your eyes straining into the pitch-black darkness beyond the ring of firelight. Every rustle of leaves makes you grip your spear shaft tighter. You understand that to survive in this promised land, you must relearn how to live. Day by day, your tribe continues to move south. This path is called the Ice-Free Corridor. It is like a secret passage that nature has opened between 2 giant ice sheets covering North America. You pass through marshlands where giant beavers the size of black bears are building dams. You see herds of strange llamas grazing on tall grass. Food here is so abundant that you never have to suffer hunger. Juicy berries, sweet roots, and fresh game are always available. Your body begins to change. You become more muscular, your skin glowing with health thanks to the rich nutrition. The children born on this journey grow fast. You watch your young son practicing throwing small spears at tree trunks. You see in his eyes no shadow of hunger or cold. Instead, there is curiosity and courage. You teach him how to choose stones for napping, how to watch the wind direction to approach prey, and, most importantly, how to honor the spirits of the animals you take to feed the family. Time passes not measured in days, but in moon cycles and seasons of melting snow. Your hair has begun to turn silver. Your steps are no longer as swift as in your youth, but your eyes are sharper than ever. Your tribe has grown large. Families begin to split off, heading in different directions to find their own territories. Some go toward the purple mountains in the distance, others follow the great rivers toward the sea. You choose to stay in this valley, where the rolling hills lead down to a lush green plain. One afternoon, you sit on a high, rocky outcrop looking down at the valley. The sun is setting, painting the vast sky in red. You see smoke rising from the hide tents of your grandchildren. A strange sense of peace invades your soul. You know your journey is ending, but the journey of the first people is only just beginning. You close your eyes, listening to the wind blowing through the valley. The wind no longer screams like it did in Beringia. It whispers like a lullaby. Your old body is tired but satisfied. You lean your head back against the rock wall, letting your heavy eyelids close. You drift into a deep sleep, a dreamless sleep. In that sleep, time begins to flow fast like a flooded river. A year, 10 years, 100 years. Then thousands of years rush past behind your eyelids. The landscape around you transforms. The glaciers melt completely and the ocean rises, swallowing the land bridge of Beringia, cutting off the way back to the old world. Now this continent is a giant isolated island between two oceans. Forests grow and age, burn, and are reborn. The giant beasts, the mammoths, the saber-toothed cats slowly fade into extinction, replaced by herds of bison so vast they turn the plains black. Your descendants multiply, splitting into hundreds of tribes, speaking hundreds of languages. They build villages by the rivers, they plant corn, they paint their dreams on rock walls. And then, a strange new scent wakes you up. Not the smell of pine, not the smell of ice. It is the smell of baked clay and the scent of a great muddy river. You open your eyes. You are no longer in the primeval forest. You are standing on top of a magnificent man-made structure. Before your eyes is a city, not a city of concrete and steel, but a city of earth and wood. You are in Cahokia, around the year 1150 AD. This is the golden age of the Mississippian civilization. You look down from the height of a colossal earthen pyramid taller than any tree in the region. Below you, thousands of thatched roof houses are arranged in neat rows surrounding vast plazas. You see a bustling flow of people moving like weaving threads. They do not wear heavy furs anymore, they wear light, airy clothes, woven from plant fibers dyed in vibrant reds, yellows and blacks. Around their necks they wear necklaces made of shimmering seashells brought from the distant Gulf in the south. You take a deep breath. The air here is thick with the smell of wood smoke from thousands of hearths, the savory scent of roasting fish and the sweet aroma of steaming corn. You feel a surge of pride in your chest. From a small group shivering in a cave, your descendants have engineered an empire. They have learned to watch the stars, to calculate the calendar, learned to build levees to hold back floods, learned to build pyramid mounds to communicate with the spirits. You are a citizen of the City of the Sun. Today is a festival day. You walk down the hard-packed earthen steps, merging into the crowd, heading toward the central plaza. In the middle of the plaza is a grand playing field, smoothed flat. Strong men are playing chunky. One rolls a round stone disc ahead, and others throw wooden spears after it, trying to predict where the disc will stop. The roar of the crowd shakes the earth. This is not just a game, it is training for hunting and war, and a ritual to pray for a bountiful harvest. You stop in front of a longhouse, where women sit weaving and chatting. You see braids of corn in every color, yellow, red, purple, blue, black, hanging to dry by the door. Corn is the greatest gift nature has given. It feeds this entire city, allowing people to settle, to raise families without wandering. You pick up an ear of corn, the kernels are hard and shiny in your hand like jewels. You silently thank the three sisters who are corn beans and squash for always protecting your people. Twilight falls over the City of the Sun. The sky turns from pale blue to deep purple streaked with orange like fire. Thousands of small fires are lit across the streets, from the small huts of commoners to the towering mounds of the elite. The city does not sleep, yet it shifts to a different rhythm, more mysterious and deep. The sound of hide drums begins to pulse from the sacred plaza. Boom, boom, boom. The deep sounds resonate in your chest, synchronizing with your heartbeat, creating an invisible connection between tens of thousands of people living on this land. You walk slowly toward the western edge of the city, to a strange and sacred structure called Woodhenge. It is a massive circle formed by giant red cedar trunks, planted upright in the ground, like the fingers of a giant reaching for the sky. In the center of the circle is an observation post. You see the sun priest standing there, his feather cloak fluttering in the breeze. He is watching the shadow cast by the central pole onto the perimeter posts as the sun sets. To the people of Cahokia, these are not just dead logs. This is a time machine, a giant calendar of the gods. The shadows tell them when the winter solstice arrives to pray for rebirth. You stand silently watching the ritual, feeling small before the miraculous workings of the universe. You believe that as long as these posts stand, as long as the great Sun Chief keeps the sacred fire burning on the mound, your people's prosperity will last forever. Leaving Woodhenge, you look up at Monk's Mound again. In the encroaching darkness, the massive earthen structure looms like a black mountain, casting its shadow over the city. On the summit, an eternal flame burns bright, illuminating the great temple. That is the dwelling of the great sun, the god king considered the brother of the sun itself. You never dare to look him in the eye, only bowing your head whenever his litter passes. But somewhere in the wind tonight, your sharp instincts inherited from your Beringian hunter ancestors smell something strange. Not the sweet smell of corn, nor the sharp scent of cedar. It is the smell of anxiety. You notice the forests around the city are receding further and further. Too much wood is cut for housing and fuel. The big game is becoming rare, and you see the wooden palisade walls surrounding the city center being reinforced, built higher and thicker. Why build such high walls if we are living in an era of peace? A vague unease crosses your mind, like a small dark cloud obscuring the moon. Is this rapid growth draining the strength of Mother Earth? But then the laughter of children chasing fireflies pulls you back to reality. You shake your head, dispelling the gloomy thoughts. Cahokia is still at its peak, and tonight is a peaceful night. You quicken your pace to return home, where dinner is waiting. Your home is in a densely packed neighborhood. It is built of wattle and daub, with a thatched roof as thick as a hand's span. Inside it is cozy and dry. Your wife is ladling soup from a pottery bowl decorated with intricate spiral patterns. The smell of pumpkins stewed with venison fills the room. You sit on a mat woven from oak bark, accepting the hot bowl. After the meal, the family gathers around the small central fire. You tell your children about the chunky game, about the shadows at Woodhenge. The children listen and slowly fall asleep on your lap. You gently lay them down on soft furs. Bundles of dried herbs, sage and sweetgrass hang from the ceiling, releasing a soothing scent that calms the nerves and keeps insects away. You lie down beside your wife, resting your head on your arm. The noise of the daytime city has faded, replaced by the symphony of the night, the chirping of crickets, the rustle of wind in the thatch, and in the distance the footsteps of guards on the wall. You feel your eyelids growing heavy. The fatigue of a day of hard labor pulls you down. You relax, every muscle from your toes to the crown of your head. Your breathing becomes steady, deep and slow. You drift gradually into sleep, a peaceful sleep in the heart of North America's greatest civilization. And in that sleep, the wheel of time begins to spin fast again. Spinning wildly, you dream a strange long dream. You see the fires on the mounds flicker and die. You see people leaving the city carrying bundles and sorrow scattering in all directions. You see the wooden houses rot and collapse, returning to the soil. Weeds grow over the bustling, chunky plaza. The strong walls are eaten by termites. The forest slowly creeps back in, swallowing the metropolis. Cahokia, the city of the sun, fades into memory. No one remembers the names of the kings. No one knows how to read the wooden calendar anymore. Only the giant earthen mounds remain standing silent in the rain and sun, like the green tombs of a sleeping giant. Hundreds of years pass in the blink of a dream's eye. Winter comes and goes. Snow covers and melts. New tribes arrive, looking at the mounds with awe, but not knowing who built them. You still sleep, your soul drifting along the historical current of this continent. And then, suddenly, a sharp change in the air wakes you up. The dream of Cahokia dissolves like mist. You stir and wake. But this time you are not on an oak bark mat in an earthen house. The sensation under your back is fine, warm sand, and the scent rushing into your nose is not the forest or wood smoke. It is a completely foreign smell, salty, pungent and wet. The smell of the ocean. The sound of crickets is gone, replaced by a steady, ceaseless roar. The sound of waves. You open your eyes. The bright sunlight makes you squint. You are standing on a beach of white sand, stretching endlessly. Behind you, palm trees rustle in the sea breeze. This is not the frozen north, but a warm, tropical island. You are Taino. You wear almost no clothes, embracing the cool wind. Your skin is painted with patterns in red, a natto dye to protect against the sun. You are standing with your tribe, all staring out at the open sea. Curiosity mixed with fear is etched on every face. You look where the chief is pointing. On the horizon where the water meets the blue sky, a sight never before seen is emerging. Clouds. No, clouds do not rise from the water. Giant birds. No. They are three massive wooden structures floating on the waves, topped with white wings billowing in the wind. They are ships. The ships of Christopher Columbus. The year is 1492. You do not know that name, nor do you know that number. You only feel a chill run down your spine, even though the sun is blazing. An intuition tells you that the peaceful circle of life is about to be broken forever. Those ships do not just carry bearded men with skin pale as fish bellies. They carry a storm that will sweep across this entire continent, changing your fate and the fate of your descendants forever. Small boats are lowered from the great ships, cutting through the waves to reach the shore. You see strangers stepping onto the sand. They wear heavy, thick clothing that must be sweltering in this heat, and they wear metal helmets that glint under the sun. They carry long black sticks and colorful flags. They walk unsteadily on the sand, their legs stiff from months at sea. The wind carries their scent toward you, the smell of sour sweat, stale fabric, and the sharp tang of rusted iron. You have never smelled anything like it before. Your chief, a gentle and hospitable man, signals for everyone to lower their weapons. He steps forward bearing baskets of tropical fruit, cassava bread, and brilliant parrots as gifts of welcome. This is the law of the sea. A guest who arrives at your home is a friend. You follow timidly behind him, your heart pounding against your ribs. You look into the eyes of the strangers. Their eyes are pale blue or light brown, staring intently at the small gold ornaments worn on the noses and ears of your people. That gaze holds a strange hunger that you cannot comprehend. They do not look at you as a fellow human. They look at you as a curiosity, and at your gold as a destination. One of them draws a long, shining metal bar from his side, a sword. He slashes it through the air, the sound hissing like a snake. One of your curious brothers reaches out to touch the blade, and blood instantly wells up, dripping bright red onto the white sand. It is the first blood, an omen. But innocence and hospitality cloud the fear. You smile, sharing your food and water with these strangers from the sunrise. You do not know that their breath carries invisible enemies far deadlier than swords, the spirits of smallpox, measles, and influenza. That night, fires are lit on the beach, but the atmosphere has changed. The harsh, grinding sound of their language mixes with the waves. You lie in your hammock, looking up at the familiar stars, but they seem to tremble. In your fitful sleep, the white sails turn into dark clouds, swallowing your island. The giant ships eventually weigh anchor and leave, taking your meager gold and a few of your brothers as captives. You stand on the shore, watching them vanish over the horizon, silently praying they never return. The sea returns to its peace. You think life will return to its old rhythm, fishing in the morning, weaving nets in the afternoon. But you are wrong. The strangers left, but they left behind a ghost. A demon with no shape, but with the power to destroy worlds. It starts with one person, then two. First a strange fever, then angry red bumps erupt on the skin, turning into painful fluid-filled blisters. The fever burns the body from the inside out. You watch the strongest man in the village, a diver who could catch lobsters with his bare hands, curl up in his hammock, moaning in agony. The tribal shaman does everything he knows. He burns herbs, he dances, he pleads with the sea spirits, but it is useless. The spirits seem to have abandoned the island. The demon of sickness spreads like fire in dry grass. Within one moon cycle, your village transforms from a place of laughter into a land of the dead. There are no children playing, only the sound of weeping, and finally, a terrifying silence. You walk among the empty huts, the wind whistling through them like the breath of death. 9 out of every 10 people are gone. Parents, siblings, children, everyone you loved has returned to the earth without knowing why. They died of a disease their bodies had never known. The grief is so immense that your tears run dry. You become a lone survivor on a paradise island turned into a graveyard. The stench of death in the air chokes you. You push a dugout canoe into the water and paddle away aimlessly, leaving the haunted village behind. You paddle until your arms fail. In the middle of the vast ocean, hunger and despair pull you down to the bottom of the boat. You close your eyes, surrendering to the currents. You fall into a dark, exhausted sleep. In that sleep, your soul detaches from your emaciated body. It flies up, crossing the surface of the sea, passing over the sun-drenched Caribbean islands. You fly north. You fly over the swamps of Florida, over the mist-covered Appalachian mountains. Time passes quickly below you. 1 century, 2 centuries. The landscape changes. Dense coniferous forests appear. White snow covers the ground again, and then the warm smell of oak smoke pulls your spirit down to land. You wake up. The first sensation is cold, but not the deadly cold of Beringia, nor the tropical heat. It is the crisp, sharp cold of a northeastern winter. You are lying on a raised platform bed lined with thick bear furs. You open your eyes to look at the ceiling. It is not palm leaves nor a round hide tent. It is a high, vaulted roof made of large sheets of elm bark layered like fish scales. You are inside a longhouse. This house is incredibly long, like a wooden tunnel containing an entire community. Along the central aisle, a dozen fires burn brightly. Each family lives in a separate compartment on the sides, but everyone shares the warmth and the smoke. You are Haudenosaunee, or as history will later call you, Iroquois, people of the Longhouse. The year is roughly the early 17th century. You sit up stretching, breathing in the distinctive air, burning wood, dried tobacco and corn soup stewing with beans. You step out of bed, putting on a deerskin shirt decorated with purple and white shell beads. These beads are called wampum. They are not just jewelry, they are writing, they are history, they are the sacred vows of your people. You step out the door. Before you lies a village, surrounded by a sturdy palisade of sharpened logs. Outside the fence, snow blankets the harvested cornfields. The maple and oak forests surrounding the village stand silent in their winter sleep. But the peace of the ancient forest is being disturbed. You see a group of hunters returning from the woods. They are not just carrying venison for food. They are carrying stacks of beaver pelts piled high. You see a look in their eyes that is not the calm gaze of a hunter, but the calculating look of a trader. They throw the furs onto the snow, and a stranger steps out from the edge of the village to inspect them. He wears rough cloth, a fur hat, and has a thick beard. A Frenchman. This Frenchman does not bring swords to kill like the men in the south. He brings things that are more seductive and dangerous in a different way. He opens his canvas sack. You hold your breath. Inside are iron knives, shining and sharp, 100 times better than stone. Steel axes that can fell a tree in minutes. Copper pots that cook food instantly, and most terrifying of all, the thundersticks, muskets. The trade happens quickly. Beaver skins for knives, axes, and guns. You pick up an iron knife. It is cold and heavy, but when you test it against a piece of wood, it slices through like mud. A sense of power runs up your arm. With this knife, carving will be faster. With that gun, hunting will be easier. But you also feel a loss. To get these things, your people are killing more animals than necessary. The sacred balance with nature is being shaken by material desire. Wars for hunting grounds begin to erupt between the tribes. Guns make death come faster and more brutally. You hear the bang echoing in the deep woods, scattering the birds. It is not the thunder of the sky, it is the thunder of man. You sit in the councils of the League. The chiefs pass the peace pipe around the sacred fire, their faces etched with worry. They discuss how to maintain the great law of peace when the world is turning upside down. Time flows on. The iron knives and muskets are no longer strange, they are extensions of your body, but with them your life is swept into a vortex of violence. The forests are no longer quiet. The white men are not just trading, they are fighting each other. The French in blue coats and the British in red coats. They bring their wars from across the ocean to your doorstep. They force you to choose sides. Pick up the hatchet and fight with us, they say. The The enemy of mine is the enemy of yours. You stand at the crossroads of history. You fight in the French and Indian War. You hide in the bushes, painting your face black for camouflage, ambushing columns of men marching in heavy boots. Gunsmoke obscures the sun. You fight bravely, but your heart is heavy. You realize that whether the bluecoats or the redcoats win, the loser will be your people. When the war ends, the British win. Treaties are signed on paper, promising that the land west of the mountains will be yours forever. But the promises of the white man are like spring snow. They melt as soon as the sun rises. New settlers flood over the mountains like a rising tide. They cut trees, burn forests, and scar the earth with plows. The game vanishes. You, now an old warrior covered in scars, sit watching the smoke rise from the valley that was once your ancestors' sanctuary. You feel tired to your very bones. It is the exhaustion of a soul watching its world collapse. You turn your back on the east, walking deep into the forest, finding the largest, oldest oak tree to lean against. You sit on the soft, decaying leaves. The forest wind whispers old stories. You close your eyes. Your breathing slows, merging with the breath of the woods. You sleep. A heavy, dark sleep. In your dream, you hear the sound of iron axes chopping wood. Chop. Chop, chop, steady as the countdown of doom. You see trails turn into paved roads, blue rivers turn muddy brown. The sleep lasts through the American Revolution, through the birth of a new nation with stars on its flag. When you open your eyes again, the world has changed completely. The year is 1838. You are no longer in the northern forests. You are in the south, in the warm land of Georgia. You are Cherokee, and strangely, you do not live in a teepee or a longhouse. You live in a sturdy two-story log cabin with a brick chimney and glass windows. You look down at your clothes. You are not wearing a breechcloth or furs. You wear a cotton shirt, wool trousers, and stiff leather shoes. You step out onto your porch. Before you is not a wild forest, but rows of cotton and corn stretching to the horizon. You have a barn, cattle, even a sugar press. Your people have done everything to adapt. You learned to live like the white men learned to write printed newspapers, and even wrote your own constitution. You believed that if you lived in peace and followed the law, they would leave you alone. You are enjoying a quiet afternoon, smelling the scent of molasses and hay, but then the thundering of hooves shatters the peace. A squad of American soldiers in blue uniforms, bayonets fixed rides into your yard. No greetings, no negotiation, only a cold order from President Andrew Jackson. The Removal Act, they point guns at your chest. Go, now. Take nothing, they shout. You are stunned. This is your home, your land. Your ancestors' graves are in the garden, but the black gun barrels know no reason. You only have time to grab a coat and hold your crying daughter. Your wife is dragged from the kitchen, her hands still dusted with flour. They herd your family out the gate, not letting you look back at the house you built with your own hands. You are corralled into a makeshift stockade fenced with flimsy wood. Thousands of other Cherokee are there, crowded, panicked. The smell of sickness and the sound of weeping fill the air. You sit in the mud, holding your family close, trying to shield them from the cruel gaze of the guards. You wait in terror, and then winter comes. The order rings out, march. The most tragic journey in history begins. They call it the removal, but you in history will call it the Trail of Tears. You begin to walk, not a stroll, but a walk of 1,000 miles to the west, to a strange land called Oklahoma. The snow begins to fall. Beautiful cold flakes land on thin shoulders. You do not have enough blankets. Your leather shoes made for farm work begin to wear through on the rocky road. Day after day, the column of people trudges forward like a giant wounded snake. The wind cuts like a knife. You see elders collapse by the roadside. They never rise again. The soldiers do not allow stops for proper burials, only shallow graves scratched into the snow. You pass the body of a woman who just gave birth, the baby crying on her cold chest. You grit your teeth, tears freezing on your cheeks. Night falls. The group stops in a desolate field. There are not enough tents. You find a spot out of the wind, under a bare tree, spreading your only blanket on the frozen ground for your wife and child. You sit there awake all night to guard their sleep and to keep yourself from freezing. You share the last piece of dry cornbread with your daughter. She eats hungrily, then burrows into your side. You stroke her hair, humming an ancient Cherokee lullaby about a sacred mountain she will never see again. Hunger gnaws at your stomach. The cold numbs your toes and fingers. You look up at the winter night sky. The stars sparkle coldly indifferent to human suffering. You ask why. What did we do wrong? We lived in peace, we ceded land, we learned from them. Why do they still want to destroy us? There is no answer from the sky. Only the mournful howl of the wind. Your body begins to shake violently, then slowly goes numb. Sleep comes the sign of hypothermia. You know you must not sleep, but your eyelids feel like stones. You drop your head to your knees. In your delirium, you see yourself back in the warm cabin in Georgia. You see the fire in the hearth, the hot meal, the green cornfield. It is a beautiful dream, so beautiful you do not want to wake up. Your breathing slows, merging with the white mist. You drift into an eternal sleep by the roadside, becoming one of the 4,000 Cherokee souls lost on that trail of blood and tears. Your spirit leaves the cold body rising up, leaving the suffering crowd below. You fly west over the great rivers, over the dense forests. The landscape changes. The trees thin out, giving way to an endless ocean of grass. The plains, the great American prairie. Where the wind blows free, you descend into a land flooded with sunlight and green grass. You feel a new vitality surging through you. You open your eyes. The first sensation is a violent shaking that vibrates through your entire chest. Boom, boom, boom. It is not an earthquake. It is not rolling thunder. That is the sound of thousands of hooves pounding against the hard ground. You are moving. You are flying. You look down and see the ground beneath you, blurring into a streak of mixed green and brown. You're sitting on the back of a large, powerful animal, its muscles bunching and releasing rhythmically between your knees. A horse. You are no longer the exiled Cherokee, freezing to death by the roadside. You have been reborn. You are a Lakota Sioux warrior. Your long black hair hangs loose, streaming behind you in the wind like a battle flag. Your chest is bare bronzed by the sun, glistening with sweat. Your left hand grips a short bow, made of flexible ashwood. Your right hand holds the reins woven from buffalo hair. You throw your head back and let out a long, high-pitched cry. That is the cry of absolute, unadulterated freedom. Ahead of you, the world is coming alive. A solid black sea stretches from the horse's hooves to the horizon. Bison, millions of them. They move like a giant black river, flowing turbulently across the ocean of green grass. Their grunts create a deep roar that shakes the entire space. Dust rises into golden clouds, filtering the sunlight into hazy beams. The air is thick with the scent of crushed sagebrush, the heavy musk of the animals, and the dry heat of the summer plains. You lean down close to the horse's neck, whispering into its ear. It is not a mount, it is your brother. It understands and dives straight into the middle of the herd. You are surrounded by massive, hairy bodies. You see the whites of their eyes, hear their labored breathing. You choose a led bull at the edge of the herd. He is as big as a moving mountain, muscles rippling under his jet-black fur. You draw your bow. The wood creaks. You hold your breath, finding a moment of absolute stillness amidst the dust storm. Thwack! The arrow tears through the wind, burying itself deep into the beast's shoulder. He stumbles, then collapses, shaking the earth. You rein in your horse and turn back. You jump down, kneeling beside the fallen giant. You do not cheer in arrogance. You place your hand on his fur, which is still warm. You whisper a prayer. Thank you, Brother Tatanka. Your flesh will feed my children. Your skin will shelter my family. In that moment, there is no distinction between you and this land. That afternoon, the prairie is dotted with hundreds of white tipi tents, glowing brilliantly under the sunset. The smell of roasted meat, rich and greasy, wafts through the space, banishing the memories of hunger from your past life. Women deftly carve the meat, their laughter mingling with the crackling sound of the fire. You sit by the fire, smoothing the feathers on your arrows. Your stomach is full. Your heart is light. You look at the elders smoking long pipes, passing them around the circle. The smoke rises to the stars, carrying prayers to Wakan Tanka, the Great Spirit. You believe that this life will last forever. The grass still grows, the buffalo still migrate, and the people still follow. That is the circle of life, perfect and unbreakable. But you do not know that in the distant east a machine has been built. A machine that eats coal and breathes out black smoke. A machine that will bring about the end of your world. Seasons pass, years blur, and then a strange new sound cuts through the prairie wind. A long, piercing whistle tearing through the silence. Choo, choo. You ride your horse to the top of a hill and look down. A giant black iron snake is slithering across the sacred land. The train, the iron horse. It moves on tracks that scar the Mother Earth. It brings men who do not look at this land with love, but with greed. These men stick guns out of the train windows, shooting at the grazing bison. Bang, bang, bang. They do not stop to take the meat. They leave the carcasses of the animals to rot under the sun, thousands of them. You ride through that field of death. The stench of decay rises thickly, making you nauseous. Later, you see the piles of bones, white skulls stacked as high as a hill, waiting to be crushed into fertilizer. The bison are disappearing. The circle is being broken. Hunger returns. Government agents promise to provide food if you agree to stay on the reservation, but the meat they give is rancid and never arrives on time. Rage replaces despair. You sharpen your knife. You paint war paint on your face, yellow for the sun, red for blood, black for victory. You are not alone. Messengers ride horses through the camps. The tribes are gathering. Hunkpapa, Oglala, Minneconjou, Cheyenne, Arapaho. You ride to the banks of the Little Bighorn River, the place you call the Greasy Grass River. It is the largest gathering in the history of your people. Thousands of tents line the riverbank. The air is tense like a bowstring about to snap. Sitting Bull, the spiritual leader, has had a vision. He saw soldiers falling into the camp upside down like grasshoppers. A great victory is coming. June 25th, 1876. The day is sweltering and muggy. You are eating in your tent when the alarm sounds. Soldiers are coming. Soldiers are attacking. You grab your rifle, the Winchester you traded from a merchant, and rush outside. Dust chokes the air. Through the dust you see them, the blue coats. They are attacking the village, shooting at women and children. A fury explodes in your chest, hotter than the sun. You leap onto your horse's back without a saddle. You merge into the torrent of warriors screaming as they rush toward the enemy. You see a group of soldiers trapped on a hill. Their commander is a man with short hair, wearing a buckskin jacket. Long hair Custer. He thought you would run away. He was wrong. Today you do not run. Today you fight like a grizzly bear protecting its cubs. The noise is deafening. Gunshots, neighing horses, the screams of warriors. You ride in circles around the hill, firing into the dust cloud. You see the soldiers panicking. They are tightly surrounded. The battle is brutal and swift. When the gunsmoke clears, silence covers the hill. Custer is dead. His soldiers are dead. You raise your rifle high to the sky. A victory. A glorious and impossible victory. In that moment, you are once again the masters of the plains. But that victory is a sunset, not a sunrise. The death of Custer enrages the Great Father in Washington. The army returns not in the hundreds, but in the thousands. They come in the winter, when the snow falls deep and your horses are weak. They hunt you down. They use cannons and Gatling machine guns. You have to flee constantly, hungry and cold. One by one, the great leaders fall. Crazy Horse is bayoneted to death while trying to negotiate peace. Sitting Bull is shot dead by his own people, the Indian police. The bison are gone. Fences have been erected. You are herded onto a barren piece of land where nothing grows. You are forced to cut your hair short. You are forced to wear the coarse cloth clothes of the white man. But in your heart you are still riding that horse, chasing the buffalo into the wind. The final blow strikes at Wounded Knee. It is December 1890. You are disarmed, surrounded by soldiers. A gun goes off, accidentally. The Hotchkiss cannons on the hill open fire. You feel a heavy blow to your chest. You fall backward, lying on the cold snow. The cold creeps in, numbing the pain. As your vision blurs, you see snowflakes falling gently on your face. They look like the tears of the ancestors. Your soul leaves the frozen field. It flies up high, leaving the pain behind. You look down at the history of your people. You see the suffering, yes, but you also see the grassroots waiting beneath the snow to sprout when spring comes. You know that the spirit of the people will never die. It will live in the drums, in the stories told in the dark. You close your eyes, wrapping the silence around you like a warm blanket. The journey is over. Sleep now, my friend. Sleep in peace.